the Roots of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Now, I'm sure you're listening to this and it's probably a Thursday and you're like, how come there's a new episode out on Thursday? Well, technical difficulties happen. It's the end of the year. So with this particular episode, we had to re-record and that's why there was a delay, but never a denial, just a delay. And we are back. If you are new here, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. Just a reminder that you can listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google as well. You can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify so that you're always aware that there's a new episode, even on a Thursday, unlike on a Monday. So if you can also catch us on our social media pages on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Root of the Sci Pod. In the Facebook group at the Root of the Science podcast. Now, let's get into today's episode. My guest today is Lindelwa Msweli. She's a PhD student in ecological sciences, born and bred in South Africa. In this episode, we learned that growing up, she always had a love for the environment and the great outdoors. So it was only natural for her to get into a science field that combined her two passions. She takes us on a journey of her academic career that started with biological and environmental sciences. Currently, she is a PhD student in ecological sciences at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Her current research is in urban ecology of rock horax in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. Lindelwa tells us the importance of this research and also why she does what she does. Further, we discuss the challenges and lessons learned of being a Black woman in ecology, a field that stereotypically it's very uncommon to see women or people of color, and how she hopes to get more Black people into this field. Lastly, we discuss her other passions, the first being her YouTube channel, The Black Intel. Second, an organization called Imfundo Enhle. She tells us more about these two projects. Tune in as we hear about all of this and, of course, so much more. Let's go. Hi, Lindelwa. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Anne. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
I'm really, really happy to have you. And, you're officially my last interview for 2021.
Save the best for last.
Save the best for last. Wait, although technically, due to our technical difficulties, you'll come out before the last one. But just so that people know, you are officially my last guest for the year. So thank you for gracing me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am honored. And finally, I have this conversation with you. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah. We need to tell them how you've been waiting for this interview, and so
I have been. I've been waiting for Anne's email.
Yeah, no, guys, please don't be like Lindelwa. Tell me. I will have you on the show. I will have you here. Anyway, enough about that. Let's give everybody an introduction. Who is Lindelwa? Where are you from? Where are you currently based? And just briefly, what are you doing?
Okay. Well, Lindelwa Msweli is a girl who was raised, born, and bred in Tuba. I am currently based in Maritzburg, currently doing my PhD in ecological sciences. And I just graduated my master's a couple of weeks ago. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Also in ecological sciences. I'm just a normal girl.
All right. Fantastic, Lindelwa. So you did mention that, first of all, congratulations. We're going to get into your graduation a bit later and everything that you do. You mentioned at the end that you are just this normal girl, and being this normal girl away from the sciences, you are maybe a little bit extra special because you are good with the pots. We heard you love to cook. The pots and the pans. Away from the science, you're really good with the pots and the pans. Okay. So I want to hear from you.
right? Since this is your thing, if you had to cook a meal for 3 people, dead or alive, real, unreal, I don't know, as fantastical as you can get, who would it be? And also at the same time, what would you make for them?
Okay, so I like to think, and I know that lasagna is my signature dish. I mean, every person in my family, when I visit them, the first thing that they say, when are you going to make your lasagna for us? So I think my dish that I will cook is lasagna. And actually, that's like one of the first dishes that I taught my siblings to cook. So I'm definitely going to make lasagna. And in terms of my guests, I mean, knowing me and just knowing who I am, I mean, like, I wouldn't want to break bread without Jesus himself. So...
Okay. I see what you did there. Okay.
I would not want to break bread at a table without Jesus. So definitely I would have Jesus at my table. I mean, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of things in there to speak to him about. So I think I would be glad to receive an opportunity. And like my table, I want people to have conversation with one another. So I'll definitely take the richest man in the world, and I would also invite, if there is, I would not want to believe that there is a person who is the poorest person in the world, but I would definitely want those 2 people to also meet at this table and just have a conversation. And yeah, I would like to believe it would be an interesting table and interesting conversations would be had.
Yeah, that's so profound. I mean, bringing in these 2 very opposite people and then putting in Jesus in the mix. Sure, I'd love to be a fly on that wall. I'd love to be a fly on that wall. It sounds really interesting. And I mean, this also just goes to show religion is obviously a huge part to you. This shows yourself, that comes across, that religion is a huge part of you. And clearly I think you have this whole thing of bringing in people together. So it was a very simple question, but I think we got to learn a lot from you in the way that you answered that question, which is very profound. And if this doesn't happen, we would love to have one of your lasagnas. So please, 2022,
we need to, make things happen, So definitely, I would enjoy. Yeah, I'd be honored.
Fantastic. Okay, so Lindelwa, you are this cook, right? So somebody would be like, you said that, well, you mentioned that you've always loved to cook, even from a young age, etc. So why are you not a chef? How on earth did you get into science? Why science? Was it something that you always knew that this is what you want to do? Or was it one of those things where you're like, I'm here, okay, let's go? What's your story?
Like growing up, I definitely saw myself as a jack of all trades. Like I believed that there's nothing that I could not do. Like I wanted to be a chef. Like I have wanted to be a chef before, but our parents, they advise us that those kinds of things are hobbies. So, like the older generation of parents, and then I even wanted to be like a forensic detective. There was a show that was playing on ETV when I was growing up called Medical Detectives, and they would and they the show was finding how people passed away, these cringy cases. So I actually saw myself as a forensic detective once in my life. But I think the love of the environment is something that has always been there, and part of also my family, and also people who influenced me in my family to take note of the environment and love the environment, until I actually saw that I could build a career in this, even though I did not know what it was. Growing up, it was just like the love of the great outdoors. I remember when I was when I was young, we had like a family tradition at home. My granddad, as I've told you that I'm coming from Mtubatuba, and Mtubatuba is like the closest town next to St. Lucia, where you find Isimangaliso Wetland Park, which is one of the World Heritage Sites. So growing up, we had a tradition that every December, my granddad would take us there, you know, he would take us to the beach. I even have a photo of us. I think I was like 6 or 7, a photo of my cousin standing outside Wimpy. I think that photo was taken by my granddad. And I remember that trip because we went to Isimangaliso Wetland Park. We took a ride on the estuary boat and we're looking at hippos, and we saw some like game animals like giraffe and all of those types of animals. And I think those kind of memories just stuck, you know, with me until I grew up, you know, and I think the love of the environment started from there. And then when I was in grade 6, my dad came back home with a DVD. He was a lecturer at that time at DUT, with a lecturer for environmental health. So he came back home with a DVD by Al Gore called The Inconvenient Truth. And in that DVD, Al Gore discusses the challenges that we will face as humans in the future because of climate change and what we have already faced at that time. And I really took interest in that. Like, I found it interesting as a grade 6 learner, you know, learning about climate change. And I actually remember that at school in primary, the only subject that interested me was anything to do with the natural sciences, you know. So even though I did not know that I would have a career in environmental sciences or ecology, but it just, you know, the environment just always stuck with me, and it was something that I found interesting. And I remember my friends at that time, like they always just said, you will do something with the environment, you will do something with it because you just love the environment. So I think everything was birthed from there. And then now, PhD student in ecological sciences.
Wow, what a story. What a story. Yeah, PhD student. Little did you know that when you were at grade 6 that you would be here, which is just absolutely fantastic and so inspiring. Kudos to your grandfather, because like you said, that he played a major role in terms of you loving the environment, and also your dad regarding that movie that you watched. And I think this just goes to show that, you know, as children, we become the things that we see, or the things that seem possible to us. So the fact that you were exposed to all of these things, because in fact, that was going to be my next question, because like, you know, when you think of ecology or ecological sciences, you don't really think of, you know, many people of color, Black people. So the fact that you are there, you know, it's a rare find. It's a rare find. And I just wanted to maybe just chat about that. How did you go into ecological sciences? If somebody's listening and it's like, okay, Lindelwa, how on earth did you get there? So what are in terms of your academic journey, you obviously finished matric, then what? How do you get from matric to now being a PhD student in ecology?
To tell you the truth, I did not know that I will end up doing ecological sciences, because my main focus was environmental sciences. And I remember when I was going to accept my offer in PMB, I was first selected for environmental management, you know. But when I found out and I digged deeper on what environmental management is all about, I realized that it's not what I wanted to do. And actually, on our way to Pietermaritzburg, I remember receiving an SMS saying that I've been selected for environmental sciences. And I was so excited because it embodied what I wanted to do. But reaching varsity and having to do biological sciences and having to do some modules in ecological sciences, I was madly in love. You know, like I even remember that I started passing biology more than environmental sciences. So when it came to honors, I had to choose whether I'm doing environmental sciences or am I doing an ecological honors degree. I chose ecology. So I think everything started then. And doing ecology, I realized that it is so broad. Excuse me, it is so broad. Even though knowing the simple definition of ecology, that it is the relationship between plants and animals, but it is so complex because you get so many different types of animals in different environments. Like you get marine, animals, and you get forestry, and you get soil stuff, and all of those things tie, with one another. Even animals are quite different. You get like wild animals, and you get like domesticated animals, so it's quite broad. And I followed my interest because my master's is on environmental sciences, and then obviously now I'm doing urban ecology. It is still both ecological sciences, but broad and different on its own. And in terms of being a Black woman doing ecological sciences, I would definitely say that it is something that is rare, and I quite experienced that more when I started attending some conferences before the pandemic. You find yourself that in a conference of like 50 people, 10 are only Blacks, and even fewer are women, And I remember that I also started developing relationships with people that I met in these conferences, because we started realizing that we are like conference after conference after conference. We are the only Black people here, And I mean, it is a sphere that I wish more Black people would tap into. And I believe that there are so many opportunities there, even for more Black people to do ecological sciences.
Yeah, no, Lindela, you've touched on so many important things, especially about the fact of the matter that in these types of subjects, biological sciences, ecological sciences, it's very I don't want to say rare, or maybe, but it's not common. I think that's the word. Yeah. It's not common to see a lot of people of color, Black people, and even more so women. Because, when you think about these types of careers, it involves you doing a lot of field work and,
like hiking and doing a lot of and living in a tent, Most people don't. Yeah, so living in those places and living in a tent and living in those uncomfortable, harsh conditions. Most people just, when I post some of my fieldwork pictures, people are like their jaws drop, literally, that you do that for a living? And it's like, yes, it's fun. I like it. And it's so odd to them, because when people say I'm going camping, they actually mean glamping, like luxurious camping and living in a 5-star sort of but true camping is actually living in a tent and not bathing for 2 days.
Dude, I have done that. I think the last time I did it, where I used to camp, and the last time I did it, I think, was before the pandemic, so around 2019. And that was the last time I swore, because it was raining and my tent was leaking, and it was wet. And I was like, you know what? This is not for me. So the fact that you do this every single, this is your work, your field work, kudos to you. But I mean, it just goes to show that, it's important. And I love this, because I love the fact that you show people this, because, it can be like, hey, I can be this person who's in the field for a couple of days, but also at the same time, I also have this life and I don't always look like I'm in the field, and I'm a woman and I enjoy it. So yeah, girl, power to you, and power for changing the narrative. And, because there are girls who really like going outside. It's no longer just a male thing, because, all of these things have these connotations of gender. Yeah. No, this is more male dominated.
So those stereotypes.
Definitely. Definitely. And the fact that you are showing us and doing all of this stuff is really fantastic. So while we are talking about you living in a tent and hiking for hours, so your PhD is on urban ecology, right?
Yeah.
And you are working on the rock horax, right? If I'm not mistaken. And yes, so can you tell us more about this work that you do, why you do it, and why is it so important?
Okay, so urban ecology is actually like the luxury of ecological sciences, because you spend most of your time in urban areas, so you don't go out to like nature reserves and hike. So it is quite a different feel, and I'm up for the challenge. I'm up for the change. So for my PhD, I am rather looking at urban ecology of the rock hyrax in KwaZulu-Natal. A rock hyrax is also called the Darcy in South Africa. I think it's derived from Afrikaans. And it is found in most urban areas in South Africa in general. If you have been to the Table Mountain and you have hiked Table Mountain, like, fortunately for me, I think in 2017, I hiked Table Mountain, and I actually I first knew about the rock hyrax then. You find them all over urban areas. And as we know, that urbanization is the transformation of land into like residential areas, into like commercial spaces. So in this transforming of this natural land, we take away some of the habitat that animals should be using. So with the project that I am doing, I am looking at these Darcies and trying to figure out if they are thriving in urban areas. And some of the previous research has shown that around South Africa, these Darcies are actually thriving in these urban areas, except for in KwaZulu-Natal. So I'll be trying to figure out what is making rock hyrax decline in KwaZulu-Natal, but thriving in other provinces around the country. So I also want to look at human wildlife conflicts. Are there any issues that KwaZulu-Natal residents are facing, and how can we like solve these types of problems so that like these animals don't decline? And also, are these animals experiencing some sort of a disease that we do not know about that is happening in KwaZulu-Natal and not found in these other provinces? So I'm trying to answer those questions.
Wow, interesting research, Lindela. I love how you mentioned that yours is more of like the non in the field stuff.
Yeah.
So what are you glamping? Do you glamp? I'm joking. No, back to your work. I love how you said that this is a new sort of thing, the urban ecology is something new, it's different, it's a new challenge. And I like how also at the same time your research looks at the interactions of humans with these animals. And like you said, especially in these urban areas, to see why exactly are the things happening the way that they are. Because I personally I'm now understanding the importance of science that also interacts with society, and the importance of that, of not only focusing on the science aspect, but of the societal aspect. So it's very important, and we can't wait for you to tell us why these things are happening and what these interactions, be it the diseases or etc., that you find out. And we are so keen to hopefully one day see your publications out there and for you to speak about this.
Science. Publication.
Hey girl, it'll always come back to that.
They are killing us.
It just hurt your brain a little bit. Hey, it was like, she said the P word. I think in science, Yeah, in science, that's the F word. Like if
I know.
if anybody says like what F word? No, it's the P word. Like don't say the P word. It just
Don't say the P word. Don't not say the P word. You will throw me into depression.
No, girl, it will happen. Come hell or high water, we will publish. We will cry through it. We will, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. And I think it just goes back to that importance of we need to see our names. We need to see our faces, and in these types of journals, and so please do not let this depress you. Let it motivate you, because there's a lot of us who are watching who can't wait to see you get those publications, first authors. First authors. No, it's coming. Speaking of successes and all of these amazing things, you mentioned in the very beginning, right, that you just completed your master's. Well, sorry, you graduated. You've completed a while ago, but you just recently graduated with your master's in ecological sciences as well from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Congratulations! Round of applause to you. But also, for those who don't know, it was such a beautiful moment that you had this. Graduation is obviously a wonderful achievement, but you got to celebrate this achievement with your mother, who graduated. But for her, she graduated with a PhD, dog. Like, just even mentioning this really just gives me goosebumps because it's so inspiring. And with the pictures that were shared, you could just see how, oh man, what a moment that must have been for you guys and for your family. So can you explain to us what that means for you and how that was for you to share this wonderful day with your mother?
You know what? And I'm still in shock thinking about it right now. Even my mom was like, you know what, Lindelwa, I never imagined you as a person who would do their postgrad. I literally thought that after your degree, you would just go work, because that's the only thing you're talking about, that you want to go work, you want to have your money, you want to go buy a flat, you want to go buy a car. But she was like, I'm still shocked that you even reached your mom, and now you're doing your PhD. Like, she kept saying that to me. So even with me, for her, like, I'm so proud of her, and I'm so grateful to God that He gave us this blessing. I've been telling people that when they ask me how am I feeling, like, the only answer that I can respond with is that this is God's blessing, definitely. Because also knowing my mom's story, her having me at a young age, and also going through the difficulties and the challenges that we went through at such a young age when she was still when she was still a single mother. So I applaud her for what she has accomplished, and I applaud her for her hard work ethic, and I applaud her for her resilience. She has been like my role model that I look up to, and I'm so glad that I have someone that I know. Most of the time when I explain to people and they ask me who's your role model, like, I sometimes cringe, but smiling, and tell them that my mother is my role model, because I know where she's coming from. I know what she's been through. I know the kind of work that she has put in to return, like, to get the output that she has received. So, because sometimes you become inspired by a person that you don't even know, and you don't know what they've been through, and like, did they take corners or did they do everything the right way? Like, you don't know, but you just see this life that you're inspired by. But yeah, like, I'm just so grateful, even like for our family, for supporting us. Like, it's not easy being a wife, number one, being a mother, number two, and being a working person, and also studying, and also still need to take care of yourself, and think about yourself. So I'm very proud of her. And I'm very happy that we were able to share this moment. Also, as I've said, that my mom had me at a young age. And sometimes I feel like I kind of like changed her life, because she had to, give up her dreams and start working at a young age in order to provide for me. So sharing this moment with her is like, it's like we have come full circle, we've gone through the challenges, and now we are just rising, like a phoenix in dust. So I'm really happy about that.
Wow, what a story. And I think just your story of what you said about how your mom is your inspiration. And I think you shouldn't cringe. I think you should, like you said, you smile through it, but I think you should be proud through it, because like you said, you know the story, you know where she came from. And you're not just saying it because she's your mom, So, and it's a huge moment, being a mother, being a wife, working, I'm just me as Anne, and it's showing me flames. So it always just...
like it's also showing me flames. It's also showing me flames. My mom just, I think a couple of weeks ago when I was going to turn 26, she's like, Lindelo, you're a different 26-year-old than myself. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, when I was 26, I had to think about you, but you are independent, you are like this young girl who's chasing her dreams, who's just, but then like sometimes I'm like, yo, ma, like I believe that you are a better 26-year-old than myself, because you are juggling all of these things and look where you are, I would love to learn some lessons that you learned, but like I can't learn them until I go through the challenges that will make me strong as a person, So we are definitely like different people who are experiencing different things, but at the end of the day, we are learning these lessons and they are making us grow.
Yeah, amen to that. And it's quite beautiful that you get to learn those lessons. And like you say, even though you're not the same as your mom, we have our own different sets of challenges, and the lessons that will come from that are able to shape us to be these incredible women later on in life. So, okay, so Lindelwa, thank you so much for your story and for sharing with that. And I'm sure just because of the journey that you have taken and where you are now, it also has shaped you to be the woman who you are, because you are involved in various other activities apart from just your PhD. You have created your own YouTube channel called The Black Intel, and you're also part of an amazing organization called Imfundo Enhle. Can you please just tell us more about those two things? Firstly, about your YouTube channel, and then about the organization that you are part of.
Okay, so the YouTube channel that I started is called The Black Intel. And I think, I'm not sure if I've shared this with you before, but you are one of the people who have inspired me to start this YouTube channel.
Thank you.
You are someone who represented us in science, number one, and you are a female who was, interviewing literally people around the world. Like your podcast is at like an international level, Mogel. So you are definitely one of the people that inspired me to start The Black Intel and focus on the content that I am focusing on. Generally, before the channel, I was a person who really likes to help people. Like I'm the type of person who would find out what degree you are doing and also see that, oh, okay, you've completed your degree and maybe you are not employed. I would spend like hours looking for job applications for you and looking for posts and vacancies. And I would just send you this email and tell you, if you also need help in applying, please let me know. Like, I don't know how many CVs I've edited and motivational letters I've edited for people just to try and help them, advance in their career. So I thought, when I saw you doing your podcast and interviewing these wonderful guests that you interview, I thought, I can also start a YouTube channel and try to reach more people. I remember that in 2017, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but at that time I wanted to focus on food because I'm a foodie. I like to cook and I like to eat at the same time. So
I get it, girl. I get it.
So I thought my channel would focus on food, but it ended up not happening. And I'm so glad that it did not happen. And I'm so glad that when I decided to eventually have the YouTube channel, It was the Black Intel. So the channel focuses on education, empowerment, and career opportunities. And I also share my journey as a postgrad just to try and inspire other youth in South Africa, to embark on their own journeys, whether they are in the workspace or they are continuing with their postgrads, and also just to inspire undergrads to say, hey, there are so many opportunities out there that you can take, and also just advertise some of these opportunities, because if you don't know what is out there, you can't be inspired, you can't be motivated to apply for something that you don't know about, you can't be motivated to apply for opportunities abroad if you don't know where to find them. So I'm just trying to make their life easier. And just, let us all just succeed and be this generation that is so empowered and successful. That is the Black Intel.
Love it. I love it. It's really fantastic work. Okay. So was this also, with the work that you do now, did that influence you being part of the Imfundo Enhle organization that you recently joined this year?
Most definitely. I was actually approached for that. I was busy with my Black Intel stuff when I first started, and the CEO and the founder of Imfundo Enhle, Ulusi Kofi, who has done tremendous work. She's a postgrad, also doing her PhD right now in Wits, and she approached me and she's like, I've seen your Black Intel stuff. You're so ambitious. I would like to have you in my team. I've just started an organization. We're still doing groundwork, but I need someone who's like you. And I was so much honored. So the Black Intel, so Imfundo Enhle Education Trust started as something called adopting a student during the pandemic. So Ulusi Kofi, as I've said, that she recognized that there's so many students struggling during the pandemic, and she wanted to help them. So she approached a lot of postgrads around South Africa who are mentoring and just trying to help these students get through the pandemic. And at that time, we didn't know how long this thing would last, So everyone was just frustrated. Students started working from home, and there were just so many issues that students were facing that they did not face before during this pandemic. So that's when it started. And this year, we officially registered it, and it transformed to Imfundo Enhle. And in this organization, we are just still trying to fight the Fees Must Fall campaign, and we are trying to bridge a gap by accommodating students who are excluded in the bursary criteria. We are mostly focusing on students from previously disadvantaged communities and students who are struggling, who are struggling academically, who are struggling financially, and who are also struggling mentally, because mental health issues is one of our cause in Imfundo Enhle. We believe that no one is dumb. No one is dumb on this earth. And we know that by just, receiving support and help, you can definitely achieve what you want to achieve. And right now, mental health issues is one of, the demons and the beasts, that is hidden, that people are facing. So at Imfundo Enhle, we are also focusing on that. Some of the services that we are providing, yes, we do provide support in terms of career mentorship and peer mentorship programs. As I've also mentioned, mental health counseling, and also just writing support and research proposals, and also reports and essays, and also just writing for leisure. We are also providing skills development like CV and cover letter, writing, computer skills, interview preparation, and career guidance. And we are also hoping that we can have a pool of our students that we can recommend to different industries for internships and vacation work. And as much as we just recently started, we are receiving so much support from different companies and even the government, they are happy that young South Africans, and our organization is mostly pioneered by women. So people are excited about that. And we truly appreciate their support. Yeah, great things are coming. I am just so excited that people will get helped, and everyone will receive that opportunities. And speaking of Imfundo Enhle, as much as it is directly translate, when we translate the word Imfundo Enhle, it means beautiful education. But we are saying education is beautiful and everyone deserves education. Everyone deserves the chance to be educated and advance their life and advance their families' lives.
But before we go, please may you just give us how can people get hold of you, because obviously this is some really amazing work that you're doing, mental health and fighting the fees must fall movement, which is really, really fantastic. So where can they catch you on social media, or is there an email that they can email?
Okay, I am available in almost all social media platforms. On Facebook, I am Lindelwa Sibonga. That's my second name. On Instagram, I have 2 accounts for the Black Intel. So it's at Black Intel and it is at the _Black Intel, and my personal one is at Lee_Msweli. On Twitter, I am Lindelwa Msweli. I think for now they can reach me there, and if we continue to converse, we can obviously exchange our emails. Also on LinkedIn, I am available as Lindelwa Msweli.
Oh, fantastic. I hope, and I'll definitely put your contact details also on the information page. So if people have missed that, please make sure to check on the information page. So as we quickly wrap up, you are doing so many amazing things, girl. Like what? For me, I just wanted to say the fact that, I inspired what to do is exactly the reason why I do what I do, because, we need more of this, and there's never not enough space at the table, and I love the fact that you've joined hands with the amazing Lucy. Love her, got to interact with her last year. I love the work that she does. So, the fact that the both of you are coming together and with your team, absolutely love it. So I hope somebody else is going to hear you now and they're going to be like, wow, Lindelwa was doing something amazing, and they start whatever they need to start. So this is why we do what we do. So the chain, we need to create this chain, pay it forward. And, that's the only way that we go. But anyway, before we jump ahead of ourselves, your quick quote, please.
So what I would say is that as a person, never allow your background to determine where you should be in life. I definitely come from the roughest of the rough, and I am so grateful to God that He has placed me where I am right now. And just believe in yourself more than the next person believes in you. You should be the pioneer of your career. You should be the pioneer of your life, and you should be the pioneer of where you want to see yourself. Work hard and also have fun, enjoy the moment that you are in and live in the moment. Don't be a person who lives in the future and ends up not living in the moment and being grateful of where you are, because there's so many people who would want to be where you are. So live in the moment. Do not allow your background to determine where you should be in the future. Work very hard and pray as well, very hard. And you will see God will bless you with manifold blessings.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh my word. I nearly said amen after that.
Amen. Amen. No, thank you so much for those wonderful words of encouragement and your story. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I hope somebody is inspired and is motivated to either get into your field or just do something and start something and be the change that they want to see in the world. So thank you once again for coming on the show, Lindelo. I had such a great time.
I had such an awesome time. And I also hope that next year I will get you so that we can do an episode on the Black Intel on YouTube. I'm hoping that I can start doing interviews next year. I need some training with these people skills that you have so that I can, do some interviews next year. And I would be very much honored if you would grace the stages of Black Intel next year.
Oh, girls, in daytime, I am there. And to everybody else who's tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Until next time, goodbye.